Welcome to the Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder. I'm your host, Jacob Cooper, best-selling author of Life After Breath and the Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder. Welcome to our 100th episode on the Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder. It's been a wonderful ride with wonderful guests, and I've got a very special guest coming up for you. So please consider to help the channel grow by hitting that subscribe button as well as bell notification icon. And you could also follow us on mindbodyspirit.fm for the audio syndicated podcast. Today's guest in the Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder is DeDee Pfeiffer. DeDee is a world-renowned actress. She's a fellow social worker. She's an incredible luminary, and she has a lot to share regarding her own powerful spiritual transformation and subsequent experience that has changed the trajectory of her life, as well as tools for everyday life for all of us. So without further ado, we bring on DeDee Pfeiffer, a brilliant mind and a warm heart, and someone who has a lot of special words to share that are needed to hear during these times. DeDee Pfeiffer, it is such an honor to have you here as my guest in the Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Jacob, for having me.
Man, I think it was a couple months ago, but I saw that you were a featured guest in our mutual colleague Kimberly Meredith's support group, and I was just blown away. I'm like, man, this person she gets it. She's very tuned in, and you're just dropping dime after dime and wisdom after wisdom. And I'm like, this is a perfect embodied guest to come here. Then I followed you on Instagram, and I just love everything that you had to say. So it's just such a big honor. I know my viewers are going to get so much wisdom and inspiration from the DeDee Pfeiffer herself. But thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for such beautiful, kind words. I really do appreciate it. We do sometimes need to hear that we're that we're um, that we're okay. You know what I mean? Because when you do light work like you're doing, you give. And sometimes when we stop and pause, this is something I'm not very good at. I'm learning, which is stopping and listening to people's words and letting them go into my heart. Um,
Mhm.
because I really try to be grateful and humble and all that. But sometimes it's like my little sister was like, "Just say thank you and shut up, Dee."
Good advice. Good advice.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sure to get you back on path.
You kind of and I try to not to make comparisons, but I have a birthday twin named Shirley MacLaine who had her feet in both worlds. She was into I mean, she talk about many lives in one lifetime. She obviously had great vocal abilities, great actress, obviously her brother Warren, but she obviously was a big pioneer in bringing out metaphysical stuff. Obviously her great movie with John Hurt, Out on a Limb, and her great book as well, but she's someone who's not spoken of enough. But, when I see Shirley, I see a lot in yourself and your career trajectory where I see someone who's had many different lifetimes in one. So for the sake of this interview, it's going to be hard to encapsulate all the things that you do because you have so many different areas that you could lean into. But just to kind of start, tell us a little bit about your journey into metaphysics, into spirituality, because that's kind of how I see you.
Yeah.
I had no idea that you were this big actress too. It wasn't until my partner kind of told me like, oh my God, you're interviewing Duty. I'm starstruck, stuff like that, and she
Oh,
kind
it's
of knew you
girl.
from
It's just so
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I'll give you the
well,
floor.
um, gosh. It's funny because, I was born in 1964. So, again, our access to information was limited. It was on
Mhm,
the TV set, 3 channels when my mom and dad weren't hoarding it. So, really, everything that I would learn, came from school, which is limited it's null and void when it comes to anything supernatural, paranormal, or I call the mystical, the, the area in which our schemas don't have any place to put things is what I like to call it, right?
mm,
'Cause, schema and now I'm gonna talk, I'm a social worker, but you're licensed, I'm not. We have schemas, like little filing cabinets in our brains, and we build and then when you see something, you put it in a category that makes sense to you. One thing I noticed right away as I got older and sober and more into this is that we don't have really schemas for the paranormal, supernatural, anything that's mystical. We were just told that's bad, that's dangerous, that anything that we can't make sense of is scary. So the immediate fear. behind it, right? And now with a generation of people, me included, who are going, "Wait a minute, that's classic conditioning. No, 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 I've been classically conditioned by movies and societies and people around that when you're out and you see something, you hear something, you don't know what it is, you run for the fucking hills, excuse me, you run for the hills, right?
Mhm.
Because you're like, "I have no idea what that is, so I'm out." We're
Mhm.
being curious,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Being
Yes.
curious. "Wait a minute, what was that? Was that a shadow that just went by in my room and I know I'm the only one in the room and I don't know
Mhm.
what it is?
Yeah.
Something just move across the room and I'm the only one in here and I don't have the air conditioner on or an open window?" Not,
Right.
"Oh my god, we're possessed," and run. It's like, "Wait a minute, that's cool." Lean into it. And so when I had I'm gonna I've always been an empath,
Mhm.
like a bleeding heart like you've never seen before,
Mhm.
constantly walking up the driveway with animals
Mhm.
in Orange County. My
Yeah.
Not the Orange County now that's really, really, rich. I'm
Mhm.
talking Garden Grove, Orange County.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was always, always trying to save animals, and then as I grew older, I went into LA and acting and all that, I was then trying to save people, then I tried to save my boyfriends, and then I tried to save my husband, and then always animals along the way. So now that I'm 7 years sober, I'm s back, and I've really worked on my spirituality, which is a huge it's paramount in my sobriety, but it's more than that. It's
Mhm.
My sobriety enabled me to get to my authentic self, and now I'm reflecting back, going, "Wait a minute, when did this start?" I'm gonna say I've always been an open, like, conduit for it, but I didn't know how to name it. I didn't know what it was.
Mhm.
I was always told, "Dee Dee, get thicker skinned, buck up, stop crying,
Mhm.
stop caring so much." And now as a 61-year-old, I'm like, "No, maybe those people who are telling me that they need to soften up. Maybe
Mhm.
they need to come to my table instead of me trying to fit at their table. Clearly, there's no room for me at their table. The table that says, 'Doesn't hurt, I don't care, move on. It's about me, me, I.' It
Mm.
it's an us, it's a we, we're all connected, and that's beautiful to me, and so I had an out of body experience back in the day, and I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what that was. I
Right.
didn't get computers or cell phones or anything.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I went to my little sister's bachelorette party that I was throwing, got her 2 strippers back in the day, when you had to go to the Yellow Pages, by the way, and look up strippers, okay? And you
Mm.
called them on the phone, and they would show up to the bachelor party. That's ba I mean, I'm old school, right? So, I said, "Last night I had the weirdest." I said, "I wanna say it's a dream, but it wasn't a dream." And they're like, "Were
Mhm.
you dreaming again?" 'Cause again, I was I said, "No,
Mhm.
I wasn't." And that's what makes this a little weird.
Hmm.
I just It's typical out of body experience. I said I was lying in bed and all of a sudden I floated above my body and I looked down
Huh.
and and something then the me in the bed reached up at the full, I guess is what it was, and pulled me back into my body and said, "You're not ready yet." And then I
Hmm.
floated up again and I said, "You're not ready yet." And it happened 3 times, and then I said to my sister and then I woke up. So she said, "So you were dreaming?" I said, "No, I wasn't dreaming, that's what's so weird." I was
Mhm.
in there and I had no words or schema or reference to put this in other than I knew it wasn't dreaming, but there's no way that that happened. So I kind
Mhm.
of went on and dealt with the strippers at the party because that's what you do last night, okay? That was very, very important. So looking back in my life, I'm gonna say and I've been told many times with people who are spiritual, "Gee, you got some really big badass, uh, angels or
Mhm.
spirits, like, spirit guides, whatever you wanna call it, around you all the time."
Hmm.
I've been told this by people who are spiritual, and I think there's a big part of me that was classically can get conditioned to be a little afraid of that. Now, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna lie to you, I'm still investigating what all that means, and I'm just so damn curious. I'm not afraid. I've had a paranormal experience, not with a craft or a being, but something in New Mexico, which I'll tell you about. And then the supernatural experiences I've had are off the charts, and I would try to tell my family. I am shocked they haven't 5150'd me. 5150 who knew that. penalize my ass. They're
Mhm.
like, "There she goes again," you know? I
Mm.
feel like I wasn't drinking. I'm telling you, this happened to me. This or that happened to me. Things that are unexplainable is what I
Mhm.
like. Make a category in your head,
Mhm.
unexpe unexplainable until explained, and
Mhm.
leave that space. Don't judge that space is what I'm saying, right?
Right.
Just leave space for, "I don't know what that was or what that is," and that's okay. It's not explained yet.
Mhm.
Time, continue to be curious. It'll present itself, but now it has meaning, but you're not sure what that meaning is. You know what I mean? You know how, like, the trajectory of your life goes, and then you go, "Why'd that happen to me?" And a year later, you look back and go, "Oh, that happened because then that happened, and then that happened, that led me to this." Right? You just need to
It's
trust the process, baby. Right?
yeah. It seems like as you know, as a child, the greatest prescription we're all given is to be quote unquote normal, which in many regards is to bog down who we are, which is paranormal. And it seemed like within a certain point in life, you were able to embrace this aspect of yourself. And
Well,
that has led to, a
yeah.
lot of changes, it seems.
And as a clinician, when we say be normal,
Mhm.
I'm glad you brought this up because I've been thinking about this all morning, actually all week.
We're
There's
all
a
tuned in, my friend.
Oh, baby, man, it's crazy. And again, if we keep writing things off as coincidences, just write off as
Mhm.
no meaning, then it won't have any meaning.
Mhm.
Like, "Oh, you're looking for a coincidence." I said, "No, I'm open to it being something else."
Mhm.
No, it's not that I said something and you said something. No, it's a connection.
Yeah.
It's a connection that we can't see. It's like your cell phone. Come on, man. How's that working?
Right.
It's not hardwired to the wall anymore, babies.
Mhm.
That invisible energy that we trust is there, but we don't trust our invisible energies connected. It's the same darn thing. It's organic, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I just got chills. We know when you get chills, it's a spirit or an energy or something going, "I'm hearing you, girl. I picked up what you dropped," or "You're on the right path." Because when you said Shirley was in 2 different dimensions, have you seen, and I'm gonna throw this out because I watched the woman who in an interview on Gaia, the only thing I watch is Gaia. Gaia, it's a
Good
great
stuff. Mhm.
dude, anybody out there, if you wanna get away from mainstream stuff and watch stuff that really will enrich your soul and open up your
Mm.
curiosity, and you don't have to believe it, just watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
drop the seed and run. Watch it and then go to sleep and see how you feel the next day,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and don't judge it, just let it be. "Oh, well, that's an interesting, I never thought of what sacred geometry,
Mhm.
yeah, what is that?" Right?
Mhm.
So it's a thing called, Jacob's, Wolf's Message.
Yeah, my friend, Suzanne Giesemann, I just posted on that a couple weeks ago.
Okay,
Crazy.
let me tell you. Now you and I know as a clinician, they immediately diagnosed him. Immediately, schizophrenia, bam, move on.
Yep. Yep.
Now, I remember being in the field with people experiencing homelessness, and I remember talking to those, I'm putting this in quotes, diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I remember talking to one of them, and I noticed that the person I was with just kind of ignored them because they were talking to themselves,
Right.
and I jumped in, and I was like, "Hey, have you ever roller skated?" It was an older gal, because I knew she was of my generation.
Mhm.
She stopped talking, and she said, "You know, I haven't in years."
Hmm.
And now remember, she doesn't have a home. I said, "You know, it's not expensive to go, and you can go to any thrift store and get some rollerblade or some roller skates." She
Right.
"You know something? I think I am." And all of a sudden, her direction went from speaking to the voice in her head to me. But now that I'm thinking about it, she was talking to somebody.
Mhm.
Was talking to somebody. There was another clinician who had their patients talk to the voices, make
Mhm.
friends with the voices, got along with the voices, became roommates with the voices.
Wow. Wow.
I'm like, "Go, man," and that was cutting edge, that was not taught to me at UCLA or at
Mhm.
any of the 10 years of education that I've had. No one ever even went there, and to me, that's another level of, I'm gonna say, curiosity and openness and leaving space versus give them a pill and shut those voices off, because
Mhm.
in other cultures, those voices mean something else, and you know where I'm going with that. The indigenous
Mhm.
populations call them shamans.
Yeah.
They call them special, wise, amazing people with in other words, they're worshipped, not
Mhm.
pathologized like in our culture
Mhm.
and put in an institute and given a pill and say, "Stop that because you don't fit into our societal norms." And normal is subjective, my friend. Let me
Mhm.
tell you, I'm not normal if you really wanna go there. Ask my family, they're always like, "Mm-mm, there she goes." Because in the spectrum of average or normal, it's subjective. What's
Mhm.
normal for you ain't normal for me, and vice
Yeah.
versa. So it's
Abs
right?
100%.
Yeah.
It's amazing what information can do with how we relate to things, and for getting information, you're looking at it one way or misunderstanding it, misdiagnosis, then that could change the trajectory of the person's life and can lead them to such a disempowered life, thus affecting all those that they could impact. Whereas for yourself and so many other people who have been able to change the way they look at things so the things they look at change, all of a sudden that burden is now a blessing to others, and they're not sick, but they're psychic, if you will. So really cool.
Exactly. I love that. I'm gonna totally steal that. But it's true. So I think that, if I'm not gonna bring into what's going on in not only our country, but the world, but there is a paradigm shift. There is a shift going on. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm,
The earth is, I believe, and I follow people who say this as a hypothesis as to what's
mhm,
going on. A lot of theories are going on what's going on with the world, not just our country.
mhm,
And I'm gonna say what resonates with me is this shift. We're leaving the old world behind and we're shifting into a new world, a new Mother Earth. And
mhm,
Gaia, Mother Earth is about she can provide everything for us for free if
mhm,
we just calm the frick down,
mhm,
trust that we're all one. There's plenty for everybody. Power, ego, and all of that is not working anymore. Okay. Not
mhm.
working anymore. And we need to start to highlight love and light and those who are making a difference in the middle of chaos, right? We like to focus on the chaos. Fine, that's there, right? Leave space for it.
Mhm.
But I'm a big advocate lately, especially with my social media, to highlight the positive aspects of what's going on. Because the light
Yes.
and the love is going to get us through this much quicker and the result will be much better
Mhm.
if we go at it through love and light versus hate and annihilation and ego and, anger and wars and all that kind of stuff. That stuff's old. That's old information. It never
Mhm.
worked in the past, it ain't gonna work now, and it's not gonna work in the future. It's time for everyone to elevate. And what you see is a
Yes.
move Jacob, do you see there's a movement going on? If they're out there. There's a movement of people becoming lightened, right?
Mhm.
And
It's
following
it's pretty trippy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you just take a step back
Oh,
and focus on, like, all these people who are just elevating their energy and their
yeah,
souls, and,
yeah,
do do you feel right now this speaks to the soul's journey where it's almost drawn to darkness to create to put light into those areas? Do you feel this is kind of an encapsulation of the soul's journey, if you will, where we have this darkness and the soul is there to shine that, if you
yes.
will?
I love that, and I'm glad you're bringing about up the
The
shadow.
contrast, yeah.
Yes, well, look at the yin and the yang.
Mhm,
Look at
yeah.
the yin and the yang, baby. There it is. It makes a beautiful symmetrical circle, and at the end of the day, what is the yin and the yang, which are polar opposites that fit beautifully into each other like a puzzle piece. They, of equal quantities and what have you, but completely opposite, but it's the balance. One of the things going on in our world, not just our country, is the balance is off. And
Mhm,
I believe that's why we're having a lot of paranormal and supernatural activity because those who are more, higher frequency than us are trying to show us, right,
mhm,
that we're out of balance and we need to get back in balance. And some are gonna get that and some are not. And that's okay. Some just are gonna live in that darkness, that shadow until they leave their earth bodies. That's their journey, man. Let them do it. You do you, boo. I ain't gonna judge you. I'm just not gonna follow you. That's all, right? And there's
yeah,
empowerment in that. There's like, I'm not gonna follow anybody, but I'm certainly drawn towards those
mhm,
who get what I'm talking about, who say, yeah, we have to bond together with the love and the light, do the right stop, do little baby acts of kindness wherever you can, because they do count, and it is a frequency, and it's an energy that will ripple. You have no idea how you can change the trajectory of one person's day, stopping and doing the littlest thing that's kind from your heart with nothing in return, and then they go, "Whoa, what was that? That's a random act. That was a drive-by." I call those drive-bys. A good drive-by, a plant a seed and run, you know?
Mhm.
And they go, "Oh," and then they go on their day, and they may pass that on, they may not, I don't know. Maybe that
Mm.
maybe that was the thing that changed their lives, gave them hope in mankind to
Mhm.
start to be more open to love and light. We don't really know, and guess what? What you do with your journey is none of my business. It's none
Mhm.
of my business. But what is my business is to continue on with my journey to make sure that wherever I go, I'm spreading love and light, and when I'm off, that's okay. Because remember, we do slip into the shadow.
Uh-huh.
Something amazing the other day is we do need to work on the shadow side of ourselves. Even the most
Yes.
amazing positive people have the shadow side.
Absolutely. They probably have even bigger ones because with that's that great polarity that they have, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and guess what? Don't be afraid of it. Just know you have it and go, "Okay," like, when I'm when listen, sometimes something comes out of my mouth, even my friends or my sister, even my son will be like, "Whoa, that's pretty negative, mom, for you," because 'cause I'm Miss Positive, and when I go here's the thing, when someone really positive says something really negative, it's shocking, and the
Er,
vibration in the room just sours, right?
mhm.
'Cause it's
Yep.
literally the yin and the yang, and I'll say, "Yeah, I follow somebody who's sushi bites, I love him, and I think it's Buddhism and shamanism and
Mm.
stuff, he's amazing, and
Cool.
him or was it Buddhism quotes? Anyways, I follow all that. They said even the most positive person can have negative thoughts.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it's okay. It's a matter, are you gonna sit in that? Are you gonna then do something about that, right? Does it continue on, renting space in your head, your heart, and then your actions? Or
Mm.
do you look at your thoughts and go, that's where I'll be like, "Whoa, that was really ugly what I just said. That was really negative what I just said. It didn't feel good in my whole body, but for some reason I had to get that out.
Mhm.
I apologize to everyone in the room because I know that really was shocking to you, but
Mhm.
that's how I felt in that moment. You know it's not my true authentic self, but it certainly is part of that balance, but it's
Mhm.
not my authentic self, which you know our souls are love and light.
Mm.
That goes beyond balance. That's a higher frequency of just pure beautiful energy, right?
Mhm.
Along the process to get there, I think there's that yin and yang balance, right? If when you can
Mm.
balance it, it enables you to go even higher frequency, right? You kinda can't go from being lopsided to, like, the top.
Mhm.
There are pyramids, they're like steps, right? Baby steps.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, we're human. We're not perfect. I'm not interested in being a saint. It's certainly whoa, hell heck no. I'm in trying to get it right for me in any given moment and hope that even all these podcasts that I do, my random thoughts on my Instagram, or when I go to the store, even the littlest thing I say or do affected one person in a positive way.
Wow.
That was a good day. Even just one person, how about this? Got them thinking maybe a little differently. That's a good day for me, right? Just part of that light work, right?
Mhm. Yeah. It seems like there's an undeniable humanitarian element that you have, and empathy is very strong. This message of leading by empathy is paramount, these days. I'm wondering for you, like for people listening, how does that start? How does that begin? Is empathy was that something that you were taught as a young child or something that you felt like, hey, I have all these mirror neurons, stuff like that in my brain, or this is something on a soul level? Like, how did that begin? And how could people who might struggle with
Mhm.
compassion towards themselves and other people start to foster that degree of empathy? Because it seems like that is a big missing element these days, from what you're
Um,
saying.
boy, ding, 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 you hit it on the head. One thing that is missing, this is what I'm saying, we are out of sync. A lack of empathy is going to destroy not just our country, the world. And we have to be very mindful of that. Again, don't judge it, just know that, "Oh, we're off. We are way off sync, and we gotta get
Mhm.
on." And empathy is a huge part of that.
Mhm.
But I do believe it's baby steps. Now, some people are just born
Mhm.
with bleeding hearts. Hello, meet DeDee Pfeiffer. I came out of my mom talking a mile a minute, she said. I came out just talking, okay, I did that.
That was, like, your temperament, like, from day
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
he called me Jabberjaw, the whole thing, and always trying to step on my light. Because back then, I didn't fit in, so they were trying to always correct me to get me to fit in. It took me to get into my 50s and sober to say, "Hey, how about this? I don't wanna fit in."
Mhm.
That. I like being so empathetic that I care so much that my body just vibrates, sometimes with empathy. I have to be very careful. I see one thing on Instagram that's going on in the world, and it's ingrained in my brain,
Mhm.
and my heart will hurt for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I have to do so much work on trying to send love and energy to what I saw because I don't know how else to help and it
Mhm.
other people kind of shake it off and move on. No, to answer your question, some people are gonna be born with it, okay?
Mhm.
And they probably never fit in, by the way. So if you're out there listening to me and you never fit in because you have that bleeding heart, you have a seat at my table and
Mhm.
Chick's table all day long. You don't fit at someone else's table, there's no seat for you over there, don't worry about it. Make your own table. Or,
Mm.
it's okay. You don't need to fit at their table. How about this? You don't belong at their table.
Mm. Yeah.
You don't
Hmm.
even belong there anyways. Why are you trying to sit at a table you don't belong to anyways? It says you're right, 'cause I remember in college, everyone saying there's no seat at the table for women, there's no seat at the table for LGBTQ plus, all this stuff, and then there's these people who kept saying, "Hey, I made my own damn table." I'm like, "Yeah, there it is. There
Mhm.
it is." Now,
Wow.
for people who lack empathy, who struggle with it, who would love to develop more empathy, but
Mhm.
find that they lack it, they wish they had it, they don't have it. I'm gonna say something really simple, and I'm gonna tell you, reach outside yourself and go s I'm gonna ask you to be a little uncomfortable. Do volunteer work,
Mhm.
retirement facilities or at animal shelters for abused animals
Mhm.
or a vet, Vietnam vets. They've got a lot of organizations where you could also go and work with vets who, are experiencing homelessness, missing body parts, suffer from the disease of alcoholism, what have you, you know what I mean? And they'll tell you their stories. And what happens if you surround yourself with people who have really lived a life where you're going, "How in the hell?"
Mhm.
Rape victims, children who've just been so abused where you're like, "How hey, you little thing, how are you still here? You're surviving." They will inspire your I just got chills again. They will inspire your soul. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just vibrating like crazy. They those little soul I'm about to cry too. Oh, wow, Jacob. Woo! I don't know what's going on. I'm about
Mm.
um, they will let you know. They will show you that how lucky you are to have the soul that you have in this body in this lifetime. And if you don't have empathy right now and you're lacking that, it's because you haven't figured out your purpose in life. And the
Mhm.
way you find your purpose in life is to discover your passion. Your
Mhm.
passion will lead you to your purpose. I notice a lot of people wake up in the morning and they don't really know why in the hell they even woke up or why they went through the day. Why are they right? Why am I here? When you're saying, "Why am I on this earth at this time?" Because everyone's so mean and the cruelty what's
Mhm.
going on and the government and this,
Mhm.
the wars. Why am I even fucking excuse me again, why am I even here?
Mhm.
Oh, if you don't have an answer for that, I I invite you to go do volunteer work. It's no time. It's an hour a week or on instead of going to a movie or do your nails or whatever it is you usually do, go do an hour of volunteer work, and
Mhm.
that will change you like nobody's business, and all I ask you to do is to be open and curious when you're there and just give them whatever love you have. If they say something to you and you don't know how to respond because you have no idea how to respond to a 13-year-old boy who's carrying all of his organs in an IV because a shotgun blew out his insides. I'm on the streets of Compton, but
Mhm.
yet his hair is all groomed and he is sexy and he's just and that's how he will live for the rest of his life with no
Mhm.
questions. And he comes up to you and says, "Hi, DeDee. My name is so and so."
Mhm.
And you're like, "Ho what do you even say to this young boy who's gone through that?" You know what you just say?
Right.
"Hi, so and so.
Mhm.
Freaking nice to meet you, man. Nice hair.
Mhm.
Dude, you gel that s" oh, he's like, "Yeah, I glitz it back," and his Karen he'll never eat again, or
Mhm.
he eats, but it goes right into the bag because his insides are blown out by a shotgun. And he's walking down this hospital room like, "Yeah, man, I'm swabbing the boner, look at me," and you're like, how does he do that?" Let me tell you, that stuff really all of a sudden starts to put things and you're gonna be uncomfortable. People like to run from that.
Mhm.
It's not people, then animals. Go to a dog shelter where pit bulls are, I won't even tell you what some of the stuff people do with animals and how cruel they are. The horses right now in New York, I mean, don't even get me started with that.
Hmm.
So, if you want to, uh, find your compassion and possibly find your purpose, do volunteer work and know that the answer is not gonna happen overnight, but
Mhm.
know that you're in the right path to find and discover your compassion and your
Mhm.
empathy,
Mhm.
life. If environment is your thing, if Gaia Mother Earth is your thing, go start following people who are significantly trying to reverse the damage
Mhm.
that we're doing to our planet. Go if that sometimes brings me to tears when I see what we're doing to our seas, or look at, when you see animals with swallowing our pollution, right?
Mm.
That could do it. I'm not sure what that looks like for you, but trust me, there's enough things going on for you to go do some volunteer work to discover that. That's my best advice.
Mhm. It's beautiful. I made a post, and it's very coincided with what I said this week, that astral travel and out of body experiences are great, but if you wanna know reality beyond yourself, lean into acts of service. And really exactly what you spoke about, and as someone who has been to far out places just as you've had, I'm sure for what you're saying, being able to, be compassionate, empathic, uh, I don't know about you, that seems to me like the closest embodiment that we have to the divine.
Yes, it's certainly, it's the path.
Mhm.
It's the trajectory you want to go in. You're not going in the wrong direction if you discover your compassion and you live in your compassion. Now, mind you, you're gonna your skin will start to soften and things are gonna start to upset you more. And then that just means you have to be really mindful of your space and the energy you allow in. Now, I'm not saying ignore it. I'm saying leave space for it. But I always call it like this. If you visualize when you get information, you leave space for it, right? You can leave space for it in front of you and have to go through it all day because hopefully you're going forward and not versus backwards every day, right?
Mhm.
Or you leave space for it and then put it to the side and then continue on. And when good and light and love, leave space for that too. But let that go through that all day.
Mm.
Leave space. And I have to sometimes go, "Whoa, I'm leaving space for that." And I have to literally put my hands up and go, "But I need to put it over here. Put it over here." And what I'm doing with my hands is putting it over to the side. I'm not ignoring it. I'm just or denying it. I'm leaving it space, but not in front of me. So it trips me up through the day. Literally trips me up. Because I can, oh my gosh, I can think about something over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's I left space for it, but it's in front of me and it's tripping me up. And it's not what I the
Mhm.
headspace, heads, mind, and soul I want to be in, right? Today. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you're, in many ways, an embodiment of the hero's journey, where you had, you know, like, a lot of peaks and valleys, obviously, and I know you mentioned, a lot of the earlier childhood experiences, which I'm sure, you know, you had they were mixed in many ways, but it seems like the person that you are, where it was able to lean into a lot of the pain. And I know you mentioned that your joy, your passion is a part of your purpose. Would you say universally that pain has a dichotomy with purpose? And if so, like, how do you feel you've used that in your life? Because I feel that clearly shines in the person that you are and having, so to speak, like no souls left behind and being able to be there for other people and seeing the reflection of others in your story. But do you feel that that is a part of your hero's journey, the pain part, and how that's led to your purpose as well?
It's a great question, actually. When I discovered what my purpose in life, and it was an epiphany, and it
Mhm,
took me to get. Now remember, when you're drinking or you have a disease of addiction, okay?
mhm,
Let's just give it a name. I'm kind of really starting to recoil on names, but if we have to categorize it, I was using a substance to help me run from my trauma, run from my pain, to try to deal with it by not dealing with it, right? And of course, like any addiction, you just spiral and eventually you're like, "Oh, this isn't work." It works until it doesn't work.
mm. Self-medication, the intent is great. You wanna, like handle that or heal that, but the approach is quite destructive, yeah.
Yeah, and get s l some of us get through that and some of us don't, right? And I just heard last night another person from my rehab passed. It's
Wow.
just and I'm 7 years sober, and my group that I was with, 30 people, 32 people.
Mhm,
And I think there's only literally I can count on my left hand how many of us are still alive. And that's how, that works. So, uh, when I got sober, it was a journey of just trying to live a sober life, trying to just there was a whole bunch of layers, of that. But then I remember when I got sober, I was living a sober life and then I was working on Big Sky. I just finished my UCLA degree as a social worker. I was able to get out of financial debt. A lot of positive things were happening, but then there was like this kind of like a wall I hit. I'm like,
mhm,
"Well, wait a minute. Is this it? This no, right?"
uh,
And I went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza 7-day retreat in Colombia
wow.
with Catherine Whittick. She was the lead blonde girl in Big Sky. I didn't go well, yeah, I didn't go with her, but she went and I went, blah, blah.
Mhm,
And let me tell you, that was life changing. And everybody who knew me at that point said, "You need to go do this guy's meditation work. It goes
mhm,
to quantum field. It's beyond ayahuasca." I mean, you literally, you're going to go to places like people are drugging to go to, but with no drugs, which is great for
mhm,
we're sober, right? So
yeah,
I did that, and that was I came back going, "Hey, wait a minute. I think I understand my purpose in life." And it was getting out of my body into the quantum field, going to nothingness and feeling what it felt to be pure energy was so
mm,
beautiful. And almost like when I had that out of body experience, but far more intense because I wasn't even anything. I was just
mhm,
nowhere. And it was for an hour. When I came out of my meditation state, I had no idea an hour had gone by. I don't know where it went. No idea where I went. But when I came back, tears were coming down my face.
wow.
And I
Mm,
kinda was like, "Well, I kinda wanna go back there, but I also feel like I need to spread the word of what that felt like, and there's meaning in that again." So all of a sudden, something came to me that said, "Light work, you need to spread this. That's your" and then I was like, "That's my purpose."
mm,
So when I go to the gas station, you know, you look at that little tag
mhm,
and you see George, and he goes, "Ma'am, that'll be $150,000 because gas is that expensive." "George,
sure.
George, did you raise the prices of gas?" And George will look at you like, "No." And I'm like,
Mhm,
God." I said, "You pay for it, George." And he goes, "No, ma'am, you pay for it." Or you say, "How you doing today, George?" They go, "You know something, ma'am, I'm okay." I'm like, "How are you?" I'm like, "I'm good, thank you." And then he'll smile and go, "You just smiled and now I'm better. Thank you." And you walk out. And he'll be like, "Who in the heck was that crazy lady?"
mhm,
But
yeah,
I had a little connection with George. I think
mhm,
little connection. Now, let's go to the shadow side. Well, so I was doing all this light work and all this, oh my God, and every day feeling great, but I felt like I would leave the house a grape. And by the
mm,
end of the day, I was a raisin.
Mhm.
Things I had forgotten. One, to replenish my own soul. I will give till I bleed, and then it's like, "Oh, hey, I'm no good to anybody if I don't work on home base," right?
Mhm.
That's a tough one for me. It's never been my nature to work on me. I've never been the one to put that, oxygen mask on myself.
Mhm. Wow. Well, yeah, it makes sense as an empath, it's
Yeah,
everyone else first and you're second, yeah.
and when I went to rehab, a very young guy who's no longer with us, who didn't make he was on his 7th rehab in his 20s.
Mhm.
Travis, hey, Travis, I know you're here. He, like he's I said the first day I was there, I was bawling and smoking, and I said, "I'm only here for my boys," and he goes, "Good luck with that. This is my 7th rehab because I only went for my parents, and I'm on
Oh,
my 7th rehab." And I was like, at that moment, I was like, "Oh my god, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute." And out of nowhere, in my 50s, going through menopause, the hot flashing, falling, snot down my face, smoking, going, "Oh my god, this is DeDee Pfeiffer, this is my life. What happened?" I realized in that moment, that's what they mean by putting the oxygen on yourself first in a plane when you have kids. I was always like, "Oh, hell no. I'm putting those oxygen on my kids first." I remember my sister's going, "That doesn't make any sense." I'm like, "Yeah, no, no, don't even go there. No, I'm sorry." And they were like, "Oh, Dee you got to." I'm like, "No." Like, for me, of course, backwards Dee of RH negative blood. Again, there's no seat at my table. So in that moment in rehab, I realized the first day by a 20-year-old some boy who's no longer with us because one too many rehabs and he didn't make it.
yeah. Mhm.
But look, I'm talking about him. His life was not in vain. His soul is still around me, and that lesson was huge. All of a sudden, I went, "I am no good to my children or anybody if I don't put that damn oxygen mask on myself."
Mm.
That meant leaning in to that shadow side as well, which has been my most recent work, and
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of uncomfortable. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. It's not
Mhm.
I just
Right.
I wanna be happy, happy, joy, joy all day, every day, and that's not realistic, right? So, I'm still working on that,
Mhm.
trying to give myself permission, like, just give myself permission to have an off day where I'm just
Mhm.
like, I rarely wake up in a bad mood, it's just not my nature, but when I do, it throws myself off.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know what's
Mhm.
wrong with me, and then I have to say, "Wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with me, there's something right with me." It's a yin to that yang. And I gotta leave space for the shadow. I woke up in a funky mood. Maybe I'm just supposed to be off today.
Mhm.
And let that be what it is and let it present itself to me, the why.
Mhm.
Maybe we're not supposed to make
Mhm.
sense of it. Maybe it's just me trying to balance because it is unrealistic to be happy, happy, joy, joy 24/7 all the time. You will crash and burn, right?
Yes, yes.
So
Riding the wave is riding the wave is very powerful.
You're right, and you have to have that moment where you run up to the sand, turn to that white, beautiful, fuzzy stuff, and then you dissolve back into the sand, and then you gather, right,
Mhm.
yourself and go back out to come back in. That going back in, that calm part when you have to
Mhm.
come back into regrouping to go
Mhm.
back in on that wave, that's the part I'm still working on. So,
Mhm.
listen, I'm with you and anyone out there who struggles with that side.
Mhm.
Um, it's nothing I was taught, it's something I'm still learning. So when I hear people talk about it, I love how about this? If you're open to finding out the answer, it will present itself to you. And I'm open to find out the answer on how I can do that a little better. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
work in progress for sure.
Even that little crack, you could have some light coming in there, and just even at that little right? So that's a very
Yep, what did it says? Forget your perfect offering, the light gets through the crack.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I obviously in AA, what was groundbreaking about it, I suppose, was the incorporation of spirituality and God within recovery, and that really started a lot of the positive psychology movement, and it was very groundbreaking, if you will. Do you feel that AA or principles of recovery can start to incorporate metaphysics, if you will, because it seems like some people, it's not always self-medication. Sometimes it's repairing or really listening to the soul, which seeks to expand and to go
Mhm.
outside the body, and they're trying to do all these hallucinogenics and great, but it seems like their intent is great, but the approach could obviously be quite detrimental. I mean, do you feel metaphysics and different tools for people to reach those same destinations should be more incorporated within recovery instead of just solely focusing on surrender, God, stuff like that? Do you feel it could be more branched out for some people?
100%. One of the things, when I went to rehab, I didn't know they used AA, and I'm gonna say I don't have a God, I never had a God. I respect other people who have a God. I'm like, "That's cool, as long as your God doesn't tell you to hurt people, I don't care."
Right.
Honestly, but now the only time I'm gonna have a problem, and I say problem, meaning I'm not gonna do anything, I'm not it's not gonna resonate with me.
Mhm.
If your God tells you to judge other people, your God tells you that we're not all one, you know what I mean? I'm like, "Ah, okay, well, listen, if that works for you, you do you, boo."
Mhm.
But our conversations will probably be really limited because 'cause I'm not sure how much we're gonna agree on a lot of things. Because I don't agree that we're separate. I don't gr you know what I mean? I think that we yeah. Um, so when I got sober, when they said, "Oh, we do AA, like, every day is rehab," I was like, "Oh god, here we go." And I said to the rehab girl, Kathleen, rehab girl, the girl who ran the clinic, Kathleen Murphy, who's a brilliant, shout out, she's my girl. She said, "DeDee, I don't give a shit who your God is. God is means anything that's bigger, higher, more powerful than you, right? So, for people who are scientific or not religious at all or anything, that's a really hard pill to swallow." So I love her analogy. She said, "I don't care if that doorknob, if you worship that doorknob and that doorknob is you think is greater and more powerful than you, then that doorknob is your God. And that's what you're going to give it all up to because in recovery, you need to kind of surrender. That's not, by the way, surrender does not mean give up.
Mhm.
Because I kept saying, "I'm a fighter, I don't give up." She goes, "No one asked you to give up. We're asking you to surrender." Big
Mhm.
difference.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
first you gotta really, right? Now, then I started going to these really fun AA meetings because I was like, "Listen, I can't do the God thing." And she said, "I want you to go through your AA book." So finally she said, "Who is bigger and more powerful than you?" I mean, like, literally, just who is just all that for you? I said, "Oh, Mother Earth." Mother
Mhm.
Earth, man, she don't play. She does what she wants, although I know we're messing with the weather and blah, 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 but I'm sorry, she can still I don't
She could still transcend anything that
you
is
bet.
concerned with.
She's letting us children mess around down here with matches until
Mhm.
something happens when you finally take the matches away from the kids because they don't know what they're doing, you know what I mean? We're just like we're infants. Mankind here, we're still figuring things out. We really, really are very much still in the process of learning. So, um, ooh, nice old age. Here we go. I just thought, oh, so I said Mother Earth for sure. And then I said, when I look up into the sky, and this is way before I went to Columbia to go to quantum field meditation and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, like I said, we didn't use anything. No, Dr. Joe Dispenza is all about the power of the pineal gland, you know,
Mhm.
using your chakra. And oh my
Mhm.
God, he could take you guide you through this where you're just like, "Woohoo!" Without anything, you get to keep your sober chip. So anyways, I said Mother Earth. So she said, "Okay, go through your AA book, cross out the word God everywhere you see it, and put Mother Earth." And there you go. You're done.
Mhm.
And then it was palatable to me. And then all of a sudden I was like, "Okay," because it's very individual. I can't tell you to believe in my God and vice versa. And that's why you people get weird and as they should. Let them their God, their beliefs, let them do it, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I'm gonna say I'm more of the indigenous population and with what they believe with spirits and I go way Egyptians, I go because through my sobriety, I've been learning more about Egyptian and, there's, like, a whole bunch of stuff. If you go way back, there's so much information about civilizations. So,
this kind of stuff isn't anything new that we're doing. We think we're all fancy and stuff like that, but this is
and
deeply rooted in many ways. Yeah.
yeah, and people say, "Oh, we're discovering this and that," and I think I like the people who say, "No, we're not discovering, we're remembering.
I like that.
We're
Rem
remembering." Because that I was like, or we're discovering that we're remembering
I say re-remembering because they remember too, so we're re-remembering
and I
what they remembered, yeah.
parallel realities. I mean, I mean, especially when look at
Wolf's
Wolf
message, yeah.
mind. There it is. It's
Yeah.
right there, and that is there's n I mean, I would love to have someone explain that away to me, especially the rose with this painting and
Oh, it's just amazing how he had that premonition to a T, and he saw everything happening and unfolding to it. It's just
and he knew. They say
and,
the same goes, and he now is interesting on the other side helping kids with suicide, and yet she's working with kids with suicide. You just have to say, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
So I think that AA is is a brilliant start to something bigger. So I don't go to AA meetings anymore, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe in it. It's just that
mhm,
I took more of a spiritual path. And am so interested in history and like you said, and the whole unexplained to me, I'm finding so many answers or a lot of questions and no answers and leaving space for that. And all of the new discoveries in archaeology. Wait a minute, what is that? What is that saying? To me, that's keeping me sober, it's keeping me alive, it's keeping me interested, and it's resonating with my soul. And so, like, if I ran into Bigfoot, I'd be like, dude,
mhm.
where have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I remember when I saw something in the sky in New Mexico, and I'm telling you right now, New Mexico is a hotbed.
It's very high vibe, and it's kind
Yeah,
of like an acupressure meridian point of the
yeah,
planet for
it has a
sure,
lot
yeah.
of frequency and stuff.
Mhm,
Now, mind you, I am gonna also say this, I'm gonna preface this by saying a lot of the stuff we've been seeing, I'm gonna say probably like 95, 96% is man-made, led us to believe that it's, UFO, paranormal, supernatural. Now, but that does not mean what you're seeing is not it's a reverse engineered version of the original thing.
mhm,
So you are seeing what you're seeing.
mhm,
It's just that maybe I think it's 4% is
mhm,
actually the real thing. And I know Stephen Greer, actually helps
mhm,
you differentiate because for whatever reason, there's a disclosure going on, but once again, mankind and all these people warmongers are
mhm,
trying to lead us they're trying to get us to be afraid of something we're supposed to be right now embracing
mhm,
and finally remembering that we're not alone.
mhm,
That is not a scary thing. I say, "Hey, yo, neighbors, let's go," right?
mhm,
Because here's the thing, we can't even get along the Mother Earth,
mhm,
cultures, we can't even get along, right? You're like, "Oh, those people over there are blah, blah, blah. Those people over there are blah, blah, blah. This group hates that group, blah, 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 blah." All superficial shit they're fighting about. There's plenty of room on this earth to stop that, is the way I see it. If we can't get along because of our differences on this earth, how in the heck are we supposed to get along with a
yeah, with,
group of
extraterrestrial, yeah,
aliens? That's right. How are we supposed to get along with something so different and so much more advanced than us and look totally different than us, and probably will intimidate us if we can't even get along with each other as a race on the planet?
mhm,
So I believe that's part of the shift going on right now is us trying to figure out a way to get along and let the differences be it go, and our common denominators come together, lead us together to unite. And that doesn't mean everybody. Forget about everybody being on board. That's idealistic, and it's never going to happen, right? And it's hard to follow that if that's because I as a little girl, I'd say, "I'm gonna save all the animals in the world," and da da da. Well, my heart's in the right place,
mhm,
but when you start to make it more of a tangible piece, if most people can get on board with being unified and allowing for their differences, and I say most people, like, or a
mhm,
chunk of people, you don't need everybody in the room to be on board to make a movement change, right? You just need a small group of people in that in a room to say, I'm out, and they walk out, you'd be shocked how many people will follow them out and not even know why them out because it's kind of like man's nature to kinda herd and follow,
Mhm,
and then there's gonna be those who stay behind going, "No, I don't swallow, I'm staying right here." That's okay. You stay, that's okay, because the rest of us we're out, you know? And then all of a sudden, then you have that middle ground that people are starting to question, "Do I stay or do I go?" Ooh, now you're thinking for
mhm.
yourself. Free will.
Yep, yep. A good song too, "Should I Stay or Should I Go?"
Yeah. We
Yeah,
maybe it's all about us discovering, rediscovering our free will. Man is supposed to be create mankind, supposed to be creative, sound
mhm,
frequency. Mother Earth provides everything we need if we just get out of our own way. Get the hell out of our own way. So if we can learn, most of us, as mankind on this planet, to somehow start to resonate and vibrate together, the same frequency of higher level love and light, we're gonna accept something from another universe much more easily, and then we get to, like, unite with energies that are, like, far more intelligent and I think exciting. I don't care if they don't have hair and they got little gray bodies, I don't care. You know what I mean? Come on, stop that, stop being so judgy. I'm losing
yeah.
my mind too.
We all are, yeah. Well, it's I once heard a quote actually, I was just listening to, like, one of my favorite athletes, fellow Taurus, Andre Agassi. Very interesting man, very philosophical. But Andre was, kind of quoting this, saying that said, "Epiphanies by themselves or awakenings by themselves do not change you by themselves, but what you do with them absolutely does." And I absolutely love that. And it seems from the life that you're living, there's been a truckload of awakenings that's happened to you, and you coulda just kinda sit there and not have that move or pivot you at all, but it seems like this has really radically changed the life that you lived, and you're someone who is a good gossiper. You share the good news to people, and you're
Yeah.
and you're not afraid to use your voice and to be you, and I think that is a full-fledged, play out of what the intentionality behind all these epiphanies are in many ways, is to really have that ripple effect, and
Well, you're
that's
right,
beautiful.
and it started with my wanting to recover out loud. Now listen, this came from a woman who was in great denial about my disease of alcoholism. I didn't understand what was going on. I thought I could kick it. It was just there's a whole lot of,
Mhm,
story that goes in there, which I won't repeat it because other interviews I go into all that. But what happened was I was the girl in the AA meeting who sat there and I could not stand up and say, "Hi, I'm DeDee, I'm an alcoholic."
mhm,
That was impossible for me to even say out loud. But I eventually got used to it and I did it. And I remember it was like, "I'm DeDee, I'm an alcoholic. I'm DeDee, I'm an alcoholic." And I remember my sober friends, in my rehab around me going, "She did it!" And clapping for me, and then of course, that got easier and easier. Then when I got out of rehab, I realized I had completely changed, but the world around me had not.
mm,
Very scary. So there was
yes,
that yeah, so there was that that's why a lot of people relapse, by the way. They're not prepared.
mhm,
They're not prepared
for
to
the intensity of everything, yeah,
it's because you felt alone to begin with when
mhm,
you're in your disease.
mhm,
But then when you get out, you have a different kind of aloneness because
mhm.
other than your sober friends or your people, it's very hard. Now, so there's a reincorporation of
Integration and that incubation period needs to be leaned into a lot more.
and it's a very vulnerable time
Sure.
because
Yep,
you're we call the pink or purple cloud, I can't remember, and you're like, "Oh my god, everybody needs to get sober. Oh my god, stay in your own lane." Oh, and you start using the lingo, and people are like, "Oh my god, she sounds like she drank the lemonade," and you are a little bit brainwashed, but let me tell you, it from there, you get to just for me, from there, I took my sobriety and ran with it, and then now it's beyond just staying sober. I know that I'm so interested in my spirituality. I'm so interested in what's gonna happen to our world, our Mother Earth, mankind, my soul. I wanna find out what my soul was doing before
mhm,
I got this DD body, right? And I'm so curious to see where I'm gonna continue on. But I know that there's not a beginning, middle, and end. That to me was a huge epiphany too, because before I got sober, I thought, well, death was it, you're done. I don't even believe in death anymore. Heck know, and this is where the Egyptians come in, and I'm like the Egyptian Ankh. I got a big fat one that, I would hang on my kitchen right above my kitchen window to
Mhm,
remind me that some people say, "Oh, they're dead." I go, "Okay." Personally, I that's your belief, not mine. Well,
mhm,
they're not here in body, but their soul is because I have been shown by my best friend who died of AIDS, let me correct myself, who left his earth body in the '80s, early '90s
mhm,
from AIDS,
mhm.
back in the day when AIDS was just taking
Yeah.
down,
Yep.
and he has shown me that he didn't go anywhere, and I know, our mutual friend Kimberly, when I was on her show, he came through her show to show me that he was still around me because he was very playful. He was in his, 20s, wait,
Mhm,
30s, early 30s when he left with, and his body left with AIDS and all that, but he was a big kid in his earth
mhm.
body, and we were like sister and brother, and, he was gay with his, significant other, Bobby, so it was the 3 of us, we were the 3 Stooges, and he was very handsome, very tall, and everyone thought we were going out.
Right, right.
So anyway, long story short, when he was diagnosed and his body just started to his T cell counts, back then you were watching the T cell counts, and it was just a horrendous time. I would say to him, and I watch his body deteriorate because they didn't have anything like they have now for that. And I said, "Dude, when you get to the other side," and I don't even know why I even said that, because I didn't really have spirituality, but I
Mm,
didn't have religion. I just said, actually, now I'm thinking about it, I don't know why I said that. I immediately assumed that he wasn't going to die, I put that in quotes. But I said, "Dude, when you get to the other side, let me know that you're okay,
wow.
and that will
Right,
let me know that you're, because I don't like the idea that you're just gonna disappear and that's it, because,"
sure.
and he's always messed with me. Co He would throw me down on the ground in a mall and s and then lay on me, and he was 6'2" or something, 6'1", and sit on me, and then do that thing on your face, like a and go blah, 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 on my face, and I'd be going, "Get off of me!" And Bobby, his boyfriend, would walk away and go, "Kids, get off the floor," and walk away, and I'm going, "Bobby, get him off me!" And he'd be like, "Uh-huh." He was that kid. He was a big kid. So I said, "Let me know when you get to the other side that you're okay. I just have to know." And he said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you know, and I'm gonna let you know so bad that when you're walking down the street, I'm gonna F with you, and then you're gonna be like, 'Stop it, Kenny,' and there's not gonna be anything around you, and people are gonna think you're that crazy lady walking down Hollywood Boulevard." I said, "Do it. I double dog dare you. I don't care if they think I'm crazy or not. I need to know you're okay because it was such a great loss for me to lose him, he was my best friend." So
Right.
sure enough, he left his body, and, um, uh, the night of his, memorial, I was in, uh, he the house that he, left his body in. My dog was with him, licking his face when he left his body, and so I was in he and his boyfriend had a little beach house that they lived in, and anyways, I had what's called the princess room. They were dudes, like, they were dudes. It smelled like a dude house. I was always cleaning because they were just dudes.
Mm, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, um so I they gave me the second room, which was the princess room. Kenny made it he went and got a white blanket and all these probably 20 white pillows, different shapes and sizes, and made like this cascade pillow. And he would go, "Look, dude, I gave you a princess room." I'm like, "Oh, you're so gay." And he goes, "I am." I go, "I know." So, um, when I went to sleep that night and he was no longer with us in his memorial, I went in there and to say I was a mess when he left is an understatement, but I didn't drink that night. I have to preface it by saying that because when you're sober, then all of a sudden that gives more credibility. But I went to bed that night, but I went into the bathroom to brush my teeth and I had my socks on, his socks, by the way. I borrowed his socks because I just went with a backpack. I didn't bring any socks. So there were big white guys' tube socks. I stepped in water. One of my pet peeves is
Mm,
when I step in water with my socks.
it's
I
the
can't,
worst. Yeah, the worst.
right? It really bugs a lot of people. So when
Worst,
I
yeah.
stepped in water, I was like, "Damn." So when I went into the bed, I took all the pillows down, and I, got on the side of the bed, took these men tube socks off. You know how they roll into balls? So I
Mhm.
took them off and threw them on the side of the bed and went, "Damn," 'cause I always sleep with socks on because my feet are always cold. But I was like,
Same thing here. Yep.
right? I don't know what to do with that impasse and
Yep.
cold feet
Yep.
once more. So I was like, "Damn," and I was too lazy to go into Bobby's room to get another pair, so I was like, "Oh," so I got myself into bed and I, put all the pillows around me as if my head was one of the many pillows, and he had arranged them. They were all around me, kind of like, you know what I'm saying, right? In
Mhm.
a very
Yep.
specific way. And then I took my hand and just squeaked it out and then shut the lamp off, and I went to sleep. And I woke up the next morning. Have you ever slept in a way where you know you haven't moved?
You're asking an insomniac if they sleep.
Oh, well, there's a sleep where when you close your eyes,
I
you wake up
yeah,
and you know you haven't moved?
yeah, well, I kinda sleep like an Egyptian in its tomb where I have my hands crossed like this or
Yeah.
something like that, and yeah, sometimes, yeah.
So, there's sometimes, like, when I will sleep where when I wake up, I'll realize, "Oh god, I didn't move because I fell asleep in this position and I woke up in that position." Well, it was one of those,
Mhm.
but when I went to move, the socks were on my feet, they were dry,
Hmm.
and not one pillow had been moved around me.
Wow.
So I laid there and I went, "Wait, wait," like everybody, I went, wait a minute, wait a minute." So I got up in the dark, put the socks on, which had to have dried, I guess, at some point in the night, right?
Mhm.
Got back in that bed, put all those pillows back around me, and fell back to sleep and never woke up.
Mm.
And tears went down my eyes, and I went, "Kenny,
Mm.
you
Mm.
mother, oh my god, Kenny." And I just was like, "Thank you. Okay, I know you're okay," 'cause he always wanted to take care of me. He was my guardian angel in body form, and even Bobby would say, "You 2 are just like, frickin' frack." And I thought I had no idea how he did that. I know I hadn't done it because that would have been quite impressive to, in the dark, find the socks, unroll them, put them on my feet, get back into the bed, put the blanket back,
Mhm.
put the pillows all around me, and then put my head
Mm.
and then get back into the same
Yeah.
exact spot. I
Mm.
fall back to sleep in the same spot I fell asleep in. So I told that story to Bobby,
Wow.
and he went, "Oh, honey, I know you miss him." I go, "No, Bobby, I'm not making this," because, "Honey," and it was just because you can't even go there. And I told my family again, and they're like, "Mhm, uh-huh. Oh, okay. I'm sure you feel that happen." I'm like, "Well, you had to put socks on, Dee, in the middle of the night." "Oh, really? And never how did I do that? How did I get back in the same spot? How?" So anyways, it's one of the many stories I've had that to me are unexplained. I put it in the unexplained category. Or I say, "Kenny, let me know immediately that he is on the other side. He gave me a story that's very hard to believe. And yes, people think I'm crazy. He told me he was going to show me a sign that would make people think I was crazy. He was good for his word. He was,
Yep.
and he came to me in Colombia when I was in deep, deep, deep meditation to help me heal another person.
Mm.
And yeah, and he came through Meredith. Remember Meredith, our mutual friend?
Kimberly Meredith, you're
I'm sorry.
saying?
Well, Kimberly, yeah, Kimberly. She had no idea anything about him.
Wow, he
Well,
came right through. Yeah.
came through and messed with her audio or something like that. He messed with her whole podcast. That's what he would do. And things happened on that podcast she said never has happened in all the years she's done it. And she said something that somebody came through to her to tell her about my right hip out of nowhere. And guess I'm having right hip issues. I never told anybody. I went to the
Mhm.
doctor and I'm bone on bone. I have osteoporosis in my right hip and now I have a new hip because Kenny came through Kimberly to tell me to go get it looked at. Now you could say
It
coincidence, But wow, that's quite a coincidence, right?
Yeah, well, our friend, well, not our friend, but the Wolf's Message person or author, Suzanne Giesemann, has a saying or acronym. She has a lot of acronyms because she's a military background, but she calls
Mhm,
it
mhm.
NOE, which is no other explanation. And I think she has another book called Still Right Here, which really, there's no question, yeah, Kenny's a powerful guide for you. And sometimes I think in general, they'll continue their energy that they had with you and just kind of do it on the other side, and they could even mess with you even more if they mess with you here, so really beautiful and touching story of evidential connection that in many ways you were supposed to understand. Not everyone is supposed to get it. I think it was between you and him, if you will, and maybe one day others will, but yeah, it could be really hard when you're going through all these things and you're trying to explain to other people, and you feel kinda gaslit or whatever, and you're just like,
Well,
it's kinda hard, yeah, or maybe they just don't understand, yeah.
it took me many years to realize that I wasn't a freak and that I wasn't odd because you know what? I say this a lot on my Instagram. I say, "Find your people. Find your people." And when I realized there were people like you and other people out there who've had experiences like me or who give it validity or space, I go, "Oh, okay." Now, mind you, I realized I had to realize, I think there's a lot of reason why I drank because I hadn't found my people. And I felt like an outcast. And one of the things I learned the first day in rehab is that everybody in rehab said the same thing. They never fit in. They never fit in. It's why a lot of people do drink and drugs and what have you. A lot of reasons. Sometimes it's very much an addiction and a disease, and sometimes it's because they don't fit in and they don't know how to be comfortable with not fitting in. Because it's very to feel isolated and alone when you're not ready for that kind of peaceful space. I'm alone a lot, and for the first time in my life, I'm cool with it. I'm good. I've never been more happy and joyful, and I haven't had, like, a date or a boyfriend or a husband
Mhm.
in,
Yeah,
mm,
there's a saying, "If you like the person that you're living with, it's hard to be alone." Not the person outside of you, but the person
yeah.
inside of you. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so I'm, like, not in a big rush to date. I'm not in a big rush to want to get back out there just because I realize now more than ever, wow, I've found a way working on yourself, but not only working on myself, but working on my space and my purpose. You know, it's like it's different working on yourself. Like, I don't get manicures and all that stuff. I don't have money for that. But, like, when I say working on myself, it's the stuff we're talking about, right? And that fills up my day like crazy. And, um, and I think being in the moment,
Mhm,
and all of a sudden when I realize time is manufactured, it's an illusion. I start to wow, the freedom in that to say, "Hey, think about it. You know that there's a country or a place that has no clocks, no time? Did you
mhm.
know that?"
I say the other side, but,
Oh,
there's
yeah,
actually
here on Earth. There's
right
like a
right here.
whole
Yeah,
country with no time, no clocks,
really
nothing.
cool. Reminds me of that clock that you see where it just says now, 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 now. It's just the present, but
Yes. When I
yeah.
was in Belize in the '80s with my friend Tamala Jones, they would go by the sun, Belizean time on this was back in the '80s before it got commercialized. They literally the sun. When I was a little girl, we didn't have watches or phones or pagers or anything. When I was a little girl, we kinda did that. It was the sun. You knew, "Oh, it feels like it's dinner time. If I don't get home, I'm gonna get whopped." So, you
Yeah.
knew to get your ass home because you can kinda feel by the sun, "Yeah, it's that time where I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't get my ass at home and I'm at dinner table." That was all, like, just you and Gaia, you and Mother Earth kinda working together, and the sense of time was more about the construct of dinner time's at 5, and that again, that's, okay, that works for some people, that doesn't work for me. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it's alright."
Well, you've offered a lot of timeless wisdom and stories, during the course of our conversation, and we have to have you come back on
Okay.
another time when you're available. Before we depart, which isn't, eternal, this is just temporary. Um, is there one message that you have if you're looking um, at a viewer right now who I'm sure has been uplifted by this conversation to the fullest and is on cloud nine after listening to the one and only DeDee Pfeiffer, born on New Year's as well too, so you're
No.
just yeah. I do my homework, so the
Oh, you know my
Capricorn.
sister's perfume, Henry Rose. Yes, I just plugged it. I don't get any money from it, but I do get free perfume because she's
I'll
my
I'll
sister.
I'll have to check that out. You're speaking yeah, because you're in many ways the embodiment of a Capricorn who Capricorns, they're doubted, they're outcasts, but they're the ones who are last standing on top of the mountain. And out of all earth signs, they have the strongest water element, which is really connected to their spirituality. So they're grounded, yet highly metaphysical. But you think of Tiger Woods, LeBron James, the greatest achievers in industries who are often doubted. They're the ones who are last standing. And you're certainly living
Oh,
that embodiment with the hero's journey that you've had. But,
yeah.
if there's one message that is kinda coming to you from spirit or for your higher self, what would that be before, we conclude this impactful, powerful conversation?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Um, I don't know because you said that, I just got the chills again. Um, it's said over and over again, but I think it's worth saying over and over
Mhm,
again. The simplicity in living in the now,
mhm,
um, is so profound because yesterday is gone and there's no healing back there because it's gone. It's time that's gone. And the future hasn't happened yet. We have no control over that. People like to say, "Yes, I do." It's like, actually, no, you don't.
mhm,
We like to think that we do, and we do to an extent. I can say, "I have control because 'cause I'm gonna leave right now and make it to that grocery store at 5 o'clock."
mhm,
Okay, that's your intention, but a tree could fall over in the road, and guess what, babe? You ain't gonna make it to that
mhm,
grocery store at 5 now. Who's bigger than you?
mhm.
You right?
Yeah,
You can't get there unless you wanna now jump over that tree and run to the store, but you still ain't gonna make it there by 5 because you needed your car. So what I'm saying is if you think about it, letting go of control,
mhm,
and leaning into how do I say this? L letting go, being in the moment to me means that's where the healing begins. It starts, it is, and it ends right now because that's all we have control over is right now. I'm sitting here talking to you whatever time, and what just happened 5 minutes ago is gone. It's back there now. So when I remember if something's bothering me right now, but it's not happening right now, but it's in my memory because it happened
mhm,
in the past, it only has power because I'm giving it power. It has memory,
mhm,
but it's only a memory. And a good example is I've major trauma in my life. Was in my therapist not make this fast, my therapist in rehab, and a horrible thing that happened to me when I was younger came flying, and I just started bawling, and my therapist said, "Okay, take some big breaths. That was a horrible story that happened to you years ago. Oh my gosh, that's a horrible incident." She said, "I want you to take a look around you right now and start naming the things in the room." And I'm
mhm,
bawling it out down my face. She didn't believe in giving you tissues because she wanted all that to come out.
mhm,
You're releasing cortisol, by the way. Don't be afraid of your tears. So I started looking around the room and I'm like, I see a plant, I see a Buddha, I see crystals, I see a couch, I see this. Oh, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I never saw that before. You read that book? And I started to bring myself into the present. And she goes, keep naming things in the room. Keep what are you sitting on? Oh, I'm on a couch and it's got, cat hair on it, blah, blah, blah. And you start naming things in the room will bring you to the present. And
mhm,
that incident you went back to, is that guy here in the room? No. Is he doing that to you in this room right now? No.
mhm,
So the only thing you have that upset you that bad was your memory of it. And that you pulled that from the past. That was way back there. There's no healing back.
mhm,
But you pulled it up from the archives and brought it into the present. But he wasn't here. That wasn't happening right now.
mhm,
What's happening right now was the hairy couch with the the cat food, the book you just now noticed that was behind my head. You know what I mean? So you can pull yourself out of the past
mhm,
and future tripping. Ain't worth it. When you're future tripping, just jerk yourself back to the moment. Start naming things in the room, breathe in and out, and start giving yourself your energy and power and permission to be in the moment. And the way to do that is to be conscious of your environment. It really helps because our thoughts are really powerful. And remember, I brought back all the feelings that went with the memory, the thought. That's how powerful our minds are. So if you can take those thoughts, your mind, and
Mhm,
do other things with your mind,
mhm.
you could literally there's no stopping you. Unless you wanna use all that energy and time pulling shit out from the past, but that's not helpful.
Yeah.
That's not helpful unless it helps you get out of a dangerous situation, right?
Mhm. I love it. They say you could think quite negative or you could think like God or the universe with love and expansiveness, and the mind is a very powerful tool, but yes, I
It
love that.
really is, and I think that the more investigation and more curiosity we have
Mhm,
for the power of our minds,
mhm,
that's the trajectory. If you continue on that trajectory, I promise you, you're not gonna be disappointed, and there's so much to not only discover, but remember. And I'm gonna give you a visual, and this is my favorite visual. You've probably seen me do it 1,000 times. Go through life, not with resistance, which is if you see me, I'm putting my hand in front of my face. I can still see, but look at my vision of what's going on. Here's resistance. Here's curiosity.
mm,
Resistance, curiosity.
wow. Hand in front of your eyes or an open palm. We
Open
can see.
palm says, "Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, sister, brother." But the hand, this is resistance. And remember, you can literally, you'll know. I find myself being very resistant in moments, and my son reminds me of that. Well, for someone who's so spiritual and so open, you're really resistant right now. Oh God, why did I teach you that? Oh,
Almost sounds like South Park, that imitation, but yeah.
never seen
Yeah.
another toy.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
smart, and
yeah.
oh man, I tried. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, namaste, my spiritual sister. Thank
Oh,
you so much. The light in me honors the light in you and
oh.
all of our viewers here today. We are so fortunate to have DeDee on, and we'd love to have her coming back. She's sending open palms in her hearts. And thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for being a guest here on my podcast.
Well, I'm gonna come back because you and I are gonna do some spiritual work, and we're gonna come back and talk about it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. I'll talk soon. Well, that was a wonderful interview with Dee Dee. I took in so much from understanding her own personal story, transformation, and a lot of the accrued wisdoms that she has from tuning into spirit throughout experiences of her life that I know are going to help so many of you tuning into the channel. So thank you for tuning in to the words of Dee Dee. I learned so much today. We hope to bring her on again in the near future. And thank you for helping us reach 100 episodes here on the Wisdom Jacobs Ladder. You could help out the channel's growth and algorithm by sharing your comments, subscribing, and sharing videos like these so that we could build a greater community with, data during these times. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll stay in touch.